and welcome to the Metal Hammer podcast. My name's Eleanor and I'm here with Luke and Jonathan.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Very good.
Yeah, good.
Apart from the general sort of heat wave.
It's almost over.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler today. It's not unbearable to sit in a room with you two more than usual.
I thought you liked being like the fiery furnaces of hell, Jonathan.
No, I like being in the cold wastes of hell. I'm used to I prefer like -10, a dry -10 in Oslo. I'm used to going to Norway quite a lot, so I'm used to cold.
Norwegian
It's bracing,
hell.
it wakes you up. Makes you feel alive.
Well, you've only got a couple of months and that's going to come right back around here, Jonathan.
Yes.
You'll be
Good,
sorry.
Bring it on.
Right, guys, our issue's still on sale. Iron Maiden on the front cover, playing the UK this week.
They are. I went to see them last night.
Did you, Luke?
I did.
How was it?
It was fucking brilliant. I won't go into too in depth, I guess, because Merlin did a very lengthy review on the podcast a few months ago from his Stockholm show. But yeah, it was the best time I've ever seen Iron Maiden. Which it says a lot, but also I've only seen Maiden like a handful of times. I think probably the 5th time I've seen Maiden, and yeah, like the set list is mental. It is the best set list they've done. It's crazy. Every song I wanted them to do, they did. Like the Evil That Men Do was fucking brilliant. Flight of Icarus was amazing. 2 Minutes to Midnight. Fucking what else was there? Like Number of the Beast, Fear of the Dark. It was so good. Obviously a different costume change for every song with Bruce, a Spitfire and all this. And it was Bruce's birthday as well. It was his 60th birthday yesterday. And Nico led the crowd of Birmingham to sing Happy Birthday to Bruce.
That's very nice.
It was quite sweet, yeah. And it's crazy that he's 60 years old and is spending 2 hours a night just jumping and running around that stage like a man half his age or even less. It's a very, very, very good show. I don't know how else to put it, really. I loved it. It was really great to see. Unfortunately, I missed Killswitch, who was supporting, because of roadworks on the motorway.
It's not very rock and roll.
Not very rock and roll, but I was listening to it in the car instead. But yeah, fucking hell, like this Maiden tour is the best thing they've done since I've got into metal, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
I'm going to see it on Saturday, Luke.
I'm very jealous. I'd go see it again. If they were playing tonight, I'd go again.
Oh, I'll send you some blurry photos. They'll be just as good.
I cannot wait. But yeah, fucking yes, Maiden, yes.
I think we just need to leave Luke alone to have a special moment right now, so we're just going to move away from that.
Disinfect the room afterwards.
Oh, don't.
I'll articulate my thoughts on the Metal Hammer website if you want to read them in full.
Go over there, have a look, pick up the issue, read about Maiden. It's Maiden Week. That's what it is.
It's Maiden Week. It's finally here.
Well, I went to see a different band. I went to see Diety's Muse, who are a progressive metal band from South Africa. I went to see them actually when I was out in South Africa last year on the Tesseract tour. Diety's Muse was supporting in Johannesburg. And they're a really awesome band, just kind of really cool progressive metal. Remind me a bit of some of the bands coming out of Australia in that movement, like Dead Letter Circus and Carnival. Really kind of catchy hooks, like there's a lot of kind of energy behind them, but you can also kind of chill out to them as well. So totally check them out. They're being around the UK this week and they're playing Bloodstock this weekend.
Well, talking about people aged over 50 who are still like some of the most amazing frontmen in the world, I went yesterday to see Oxbow live at Oslo in Hackney, not the Norwegian city.
Stop going to Oslo, Jonathan. Literally just stay here for one night.
So this is a band that have been going around for like 30 years. I saw them in like about 1990 playing with Godflesh, and and they were like the most like genuinely edge of your seat, challenging, confrontational bands I've ever seen, and so unusual. And they're going for 30 years later down the road, they're still really challenging, but they're still one of the most honest bands that I've ever heard, in the sense that like only they could ever create music like this. Like it's just basically the sound of frontman Eugene Robinson's psyche unraveling. But this band is so tight, but they also like I was thinking like have that warmth that if you went into a bar in New Orleans and saw a band playing that have been playing together for ages, they have that kind of warmth and tightness to them, but they also kind of sound as if on the verge of falling apart. And you've got to be a really good musician to be able to play like that. And the frontman Eugene Robinson is this kind of ridiculously strapped guy, has a habit of getting undressed during his starting off in a suit,
yeah.
getting undressed to his underpants, fondling himself with his underpants.
Nice.
Has been known to start fights with people.
What did you do at your show? Did he strip off?
He started off in a bow tie and a suit and jacket, and he ended up in a leather vest and underpants.
Nice.
And too busy for me to check on the fondling situation. But again, this guy is such like a charismatic, like magnetic frontman, and just with an incredible kind of bluesy voice. It's hard. It's almost like it's a narrative. Like he's like narrating some kind of story, like psychotic story. And it's just, if you ever get a chance to see him again, do it, because they will blow your mind. And the just the love in the room for that band. You can tell, like, you know, they really mean a lot to everyone there. So
we need to give you a little space now instead of Luke. I should give a shout out as well to a couple of other bands I saw on Monday with Daisy's Muse, Voices from the Fuselage, who've got new music coming soon, and also Sumer, who are wicked, also have music coming out. Yeah, that's again both kind of progressive bands, and Sumer particularly sort of doing Tool-y type riffs, and they just got a good vibe going. So yeah.
So if you're waiting for that Tool album, just listen to
Sumer instead, pretty much. Yeah, and they're playing as well, which is good too in the UK. It's a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
What else has been going on, Luke?
Well, Behemoth have released a new song. Behemoth.
Yeah, I think
whichever we decide.
I think it's Behemoth.
I think it's Behemoth.
I think it's Behemoth.
I remember being told. I'm sure we've done this on the podcast before, but I remember being told it's Behemoth.
Right,
well, we're going to have to ask Nurgle, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's ask him when he's around.
Let's see who's correct.
Exactly, we will. But in the meantime, they've released the new song with a bad name. God equals Dog.
Should we just talk about that for a second? I'm worried it's going to put people off. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's pretty of a jokey name for a band that aren't known for having the most fun, or at least musically it's not fun. But the song title's just bad.
I like the symmetry of it, you know.
Yes.
And conceptually, there's probably kind of layers going on there. But I think when you just see it written down, you go, "Hang on a minute."
Yeah.
You know, but the song itself.
The song's wicked, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was saying to you guys when we listened to it in the office, it makes me feel really evil listening to it. Like I feel like I've done something wrong. It's just really kind of like, it's really like dark and sinister, and I'm just like, ooh. I think you wrote in your review it made you feel dirty as well.
Yeah, I think there's something about that band. There's a lot of bands who do the whole anti-religion, not just say Satanist, but just sort of non-religious type, sort of everything's bad, and you listen to them and you sort of like, I believe everything they're saying, and and you sort of feel like, not necessarily guilty for listening to it, but you're just like, oh God, if hell exists, I'm blatantly going now just for listening to this band.
Plus, there's something about anti-religious or satanic songs with kids' voices on them.
Yeah, when the kids come in, you are just like, fucking hell.
It's like
Miss Richard doomed.
Yeah, it's like Rich Cuckoos or something.
But it's so heavy, and
the end of innocence.
It's fucking good though, isn't it? This song.
But it's always a way, like when you hear a song that gets released before the album, and you think of it one way, and then you hear it in the context of the album, and it gives it a whole different cast to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not my favourite Behemoth song I've heard, but I like the way it kind of builds up to it. But I'm sure, like, in the context of the album, because especially like the Satanists, they had such a dynamic that kind of reached a crescendo towards the end. And Behemoth are one of those bands you imagine that when an album isn't just a collection of songs, it's same kind of space. So I'm really curious to see how it fits into the new album and what the dynamic of that whole album is.
I'm glad that it does seem like a continuation of the Satanist as well. I was wondering if they were going to go a completely different direction. It's like, well, that was Satanist, that was one thing, but it does feel like they've kept to the same mindset musically, if nothing else, and it's been like, good, we're still pissed off about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, but I mean, the Satanists though, it wasn't just about being pissed off about X, Y, and Z. There was some kind of catharsis about it, especially the last couple of songs, and it was a real kind of personal testimony.
Yeah, of course.
And the way it built up to that, just fused it, what all the stuff that Nogel had been through, his personality and his wider kind of views. And I think that's why it even though they've done so many great albums before that, Satanist was the one that really broke through, because it had that kind of really personal touch to it, as well as all the other elements to it. So I'm really curious to see how much of that is going to be in the new one, and is this new album going to mark out a period of his life in between the Satanist and now as well? Because you could tell, like, coming so close to death with leukemia and coming out of that, and his own energy that got him through it. I'm sure that was like, part of the DNA of the Satanist. So I'm curious to know what's the DNA of this record going to be.
There's kind of an indication in the video. Have you guys seen the video?
Yeah.
It's like an X-rated one, and it's sort of reminding me of the video they did for the lead-off single for Me and That Man. What was the single? Where
Church is Black?
Yeah, where they were in that kind of club, and it was sort of seedy but kind of glamorous at the same time, the kind of underworld and lots of nudity. And the same with this video, it's sort of kind of almost mapped out like tableau, like these religious paintings, but it's also very like glamorous and sexy, like a glamorous kind of a hell where it's all debauched, but everyone's weirdly attractive. And he kind of has got this weird like sort of, it's the glamorous sinning sort of thing going on, isn't it? It's sort of reveling in it, and it's not kind of the ugly hell of an underworld that's sort of twisted and messed up and just full of like horrible sin and fire and brimstone. It's kind of like, oh, this is a bit sexy. This is kind of like
it's just decadence, isn't it?
Decadence. That's the word, Jonathan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's what Akakoko used to kind of excel in, that whole kind of satanic gentleman's decadence kind of thing.
It's gentleman's decadence. That's the new genre. Jonathan's just coined a genre, everyone.
Gentleman's decadence.
Yeah. So look forward to seeing a slew of gentleman's decadence bands coming out.
Decadence.
And hopefully some female answers to it too. We can be decadent, so
So
that
decadence
should be a
is
thing.
for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What else has been happening, Luke?
Well, as of this morning when I came into the office, there's been a picture reportedly outside this studio in Vancouver. I've forgotten the name of it. It's Brian Johnson and Phil Rudd of AC/DC together outside a studio in Vancouver. And rumours are running wild that both are back with AC/DC and God knows what's going to happen there.
As long as it's not rumours of running wild, we're okay.
Well, okay. But it looks like if rumours are to be believed, Brian Johnson is recording with AC/DC in Vancouver. Thoughts?
Well, they've had a lot of turmoil. Obviously, a lot of people speculated that maybe they wouldn't do anything else. So. Did you say it was a recording studio?
Yeah.
That's definitely something happening. It wasn't like a meeting or something.
No. There's a picture of Phil Rudd and Brian. One of them's having a coffee, and the other's having a bit of a laugh outside of what is apparently a recording studio in Vancouver. And yes, the rumour mill is running wild and going crazy, and speculating that AC/DC are recording, and it's with Brian, and it's with Phil, and God knows what else. And I'd much rather get an album with Brian than Axl, obviously, with it being AC/DC. I just don't know with this one. It probably is going to happen.
I just can't believe just AC/DC. It's physically impossible for them to put out a bad album, so they could be doing it from like nursing homes and it would still be great. I'm sure. I always look forward to any. Black Ice was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed Black Ice.
So I look forward to any new AC/DC album. I don't think they'll ever piss on their legacy. They can't. It's not in their DNA. So I think any new AC/DC album is to be. I'm excited about it.
Well, if this is actually happening, it's cool to see Brian back again, because with him having hearing problems, kind of worried that would be the end for him and he wouldn't be able to tour or make music, which would be very sad. As someone with tinnitus especially, it's kind of, when that news came out, found that quite depressing really, that he might not be able to kind of play and enjoy music in the same way. So that kind of offers hope to me personally in some ways as well, I think.
Yeah, you could fund AC/DC.
Would you like to see that, Luke?
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Just not hear it.
Hells, L's, or L's, bells, L's, bells.
I challenge you to a karaoke session, Luke.
I do not take that offer.
Jonathan?
I will take that offer.
I've got to get somebody singing with me. Love a bit of karaoke.
Come on.
So moving on, Bloodstock's coming this weekend.
Yes.
Yay.
I sadly am not attending Bloodstock this year for various reasons, but you guys are going to be representing Metal Hammer there.
Come on. We will be Metal and Hammer in the best metal festival, arguably.
It's a pretty good metal festival.
I think the best UK outdoor metal festival.
Okay.
It doesn't really narrow it down that much, but
I'd also like to say that
I do love Bloodstock.
Yeah, I love Bloodstock.
I am seeing Iron Maiden on Saturday, so you don't have to take away my metal card.
No.
So I've still got it. It's fine. Well, we're going to do a preview for you guys. We're going to pick some of the bands every day that we want to see at Bloodstock. Obviously, my suggestions. Luke and Jonathan will have to go and see those bands for me.
Exactly, yeah.
And they can channel my spirit through themselves.
I'll FaceTime you. Well, every band's on then.
Sounds great.
It just sounds like a car crash.
As long as it's not your face, I don't mind. Well, do you want to kick us off, Luke? Who are you going to see on Friday?
Go on Friday. Yeah.
Actually, there's some bands that you should see on Thursday. In fact.
Oh, Thursday!
Yeah, for the
go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go for 2 on Thursday, even though there's only actually 5 bands playing. But 100-Year-Old Man, a great post-metal band, really atmospheric. But also Arcona, a Russian folk metal band, and they're just way better than pretty much any other folk metal band I know, aside from Two Excess. but they have the really sort of like clean, harsh, like almost ABBA type vocals.
You love ABBA.
I do love ABBA. Who doesn't love ABBA? That's just a given. But not breathy vocals, just purely really hard to hit the note on the thing. And they're kind of a little bit mental. The singer, she's a bit mental. She runs around in furs and just loads of energy. And it's not silly good time folk metal, but it's still good time folk metal. And yeah, great front woman. And I wish I was there on the Thursday to see them, because it'll be everyone will have a fantastic time.
Good shout from you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the Friday bands then.
Okay, well I'm going to go. This is the one I'm going to go for a fairly obvious one, because only choosing one, and I'm going to go for Doro, who's
Very good choice.
Headlining the Sofa Lancaster stage after Priest, and just with Priest, this is just, you go and see you're at ground zero of heavy metal. This is everything it's about. There's no more communal experience than watching an amazing front person who's just the true spirit of heavy metal, and she's such a great singer, and some of these songs are like absolute classics, and you'll just come out just glowing.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's got a new record coming soon as well, which we've heard, which is
very
cool.
Yeah, it's a double album, one of ballads, one of warrior anthems.
Exactly.
And she does a great ballad without it being kind of too schmaltzy, but just enough just enough of a bit of a schmaltz to get you raising your fist, and there's an element of cheese in them, but they're still great sort of power ballads.
Personally, I'm in on the warrior anthems.
Yeah. So and we have an amazing feature with that coming up.
We do indeed, yeah. So keep your eyes open for that. Well, for my Bloodstock choices, I'm actually going to go kind of global. I thought I'd pick a little theme
for
my choices. So the first one I'm going to go with is Love Bites on the Friday. You guys probably know about them already. They won the Best New Band Award at the Golden Gods in June. And they are a Japanese power metal band. And they are just doing something a little bit new and a little bit different. They're taking power metal and giving it their own spin. They're all female as well. And they look very much like a unit. Rather than wearing traditional metal black, they're all in white usually. And they're just fun, basically. And I think, with kind of more and more bands coming to prominence from Japan, Love Bites are kind of well placed to surf that wave. And I think they are going to be pretty successful.
My pick for Friday is not to say the polar opposite of Love Bites, but it's very different. It's for no surprise, it's Suicidal Tendencies, who are on the main stage, I believe, in the middle of the day, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. I imagine it's just going to be greatest hits from Suicidal Tendencies in the sunshine, and they're one of those seminal crossover bands. If you didn't know, between skate, punk, and thrash. Fronted by Mike Muir, who's just one of the best frontmen in metal. Regardless of whether you like his voice or his vocals, he gives it everything, and he loves that band and loves metal, and he's just such a nice guy as well, genuinely lovely man. And I think this the material they've got, and even they've got a new album coming as well. But the material they've got now is just so fucking good. There's at least one bona fide anthem per album now, and it's that slot of Bloodstock that usually you give to your Municipal Waste or something, where it's just mid-afternoon, thrash band, everyone has the best time. And this is going to be a lot really, really, really good.
I saw them a couple of years back and they were so much more fun than I thought they would be. And I was kind of like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. And then I watched them and it was super fun. And everyone was so involved as well. They like dragged everyone from the crowd like into the fun arena.
But I think it's like, these like classic,
the Thunderdome.
These like classic old school frontmen, and it's kind of a craft in a way that somehow people from that era they just have that amazing charisma.
Yeah. You did.
And it came from something kind of very real as well too.
Yeah, of course.
They have a new album coming out soon.
Still Psycho. Yeah, so I've heard say they've released a new song called Fubar, I think, which is it's decent. Suicidal just don't really do bad songs. Some are better than others, but it's just like, yep, this is a Suicidal song. Yeah. It's good.
I would just like to add, I didn't go for Emperor just because it would have been too obvious, but of course go and see Emperor.
And Judas Priest, obviously.
And Priest, yeah.
What about Saturday, Jonathan? Who have you got?
A Forest of Stars, who also have a new album coming out, and I don't know why this band aren't like bigger than they are, because they're one of the most unique bands that come out the British metal scene, the British black metal scene, and with the most thoroughly detailed world in which they exist in. So they're kind of Victorian black metal. Ooh. So all their albums exist in this kind of weird sort of, I'm not going to say cyberpunk because they themselves hate that word, or right. Steampunk, they hate that word, and it's nothing like the steampunk bands whatsoever. But all their albums they come up with a fully fledged universe they exist in. They're like these like psychological narratives that reach kind of incredible crescendos. They have lots of kind of weird instrumentation. They have like violins, and their videos are like literally they must have taken about 9 months to make, and the amount of detail and effort they put into this world is just incredible. And there's this one video called Gatherer of the Pure, which is just look it up on YouTube. It's 9 minutes long. It's the most mind-bending video you'll ever see, and visually just eyeball sort of just go and watch it because it will blow your mind, and the music is just like so like on the edge of a precipice, and it's so tense, and it just keeps you absolutely wrapped in the whole thing. And if they get visuals behind it, and the visuals are the similar visuals that they use for the videos, and you'll just be engulfed in this world, and as long as they get a decent sound, you'll come out and your world will be slightly altered by them.
Wow.
And everyone should go and listen to the new album when it hits in about a month's time.
Good times. I'm going to continue with the global metal theme and choose Orphaned Land, who've had in the mag quite a few times. They're an Israeli band. And they kind of advocate for togetherness and kind of bringing different religious factions together in peace. And they had a record out earlier this year as well, so they've been around for a couple of decades now, I think, getting on to like 25 years or something. And yeah, they've just kind of, 94 was their first album, so yeah, they've just been kind of around for a long time, like really kind of like championing their music and championing metal and championing unity, and so just go and watch them, really, show your support. I'd like to give a shout out as well to Vola on that day, because Vola are an amazing band, so you should watch them as well. So
you mentioned Love Bites won a Golden God. Orphaned Land won a Golden God, I think 4 years ago.
Yeah.
As well, I remember they came over, and yeah, it was quite a big deal. I remember seeing them. That was the first Golden Gods I went to, I think. Yeah, it was good seeing them. And yeah, again, like you say, they mentioned the idea of unity and togetherness and community was obviously in their acceptance speech they mentioned, and yeah, it was a big deal. I think it's going to be quite a nice little moment for them at Bloodstock, and obviously which is also a very community-led festival.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm going slightly different, but also not surprising. I've gone for Conjurer on Saturday, who are my favourite metal band in the UK right now. In terms of straight up metal, because that's what they are. Massive riffs and sludge and horribleness. There's a lot of Gojira and Mastodon in what they do, but also just a lot more grim, just darkness in there. A lot of songs about the darkest part of the ocean, but also depression and internal darkness as well. And it's just really fucking heavy and bleak, and it's just such a good album. Maya they released this year, and I think they're going to pull hopefully a massive crowd at Bloodstock and just show that the young metal bands are in a good place right now. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just fucking love this band, and they're going to be really, really good. Mark my words.
Didn't Brady have a little incident recently at a festival?
Did he? Oh, is this... I think I know what you're referring to. I saw that on Twitter. I don't think he's listening. He might be, but I saw on Twitter, apparently he shat himself at a festival.
Because he's probably just so excited.
So excited about the potential of playing Bloodstock. He pooed his little knickers. Oh,
I'm sure there's like a whole roll call of people who have shut themselves on stage.
Oh yeah.
Oh, most likely. Dillinger.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Roachford apparently. Going back a bit.
Maybe we should save this for a special podcast.
Yeah.
Jonathan, moving on to Sunday.
Okay, well the obvious one would be Watain, who just put on one of the best, like one of the most immersive shows ever. And but I'm going to go for Mantar, who by contrast are like a two-piece, and they make it sound bigger than most 4 or 5 piece bands you could ever hear. There's something about two-piece bands that are just always, they're nearly always amazing, and they always just like, I can't believe there's just 2 people playing. It's just like basically one drum and a set of drums and an overdriven guitar. And the amount of, like, Bolzer is another incredible 2-piece band, and they just they have these grooves that are just so kind of stop-start grooves, but just so they just grab you so tightly, and a really fierce frontman, and you'll just be like completely at their mercy, and and just when you see them play live, and you see like a whole room full of people just kind of shackled to that beat, and then just rigging through with these like this flood of sort of guitars, but really well directed guitar riffs, and it will just be amazing. And I can't wait to see the Sofa Lancer tent all one mass behind that band's will.
Well, I'm going to pick Underside, who are from Nepal. Go and support Underside.
Yes.
They play really cool, just like modern, straightforward kind of metal, some really catchy songs, and they really are nurturing the scene in Nepal. They set up a festival called Silence, which we covered in the mag last year, which is a platform for bands from Nepal to come and play, and they bring over international bands to basically allow people there to get a chance to see some of the most awesome metal bands in the world, but also to kind of put Nepal on the world stage and give those bands a platform. Go and see Underside, you will not regret it.
My final pick on the Sunday is Pallbearer.
Cool.
Who... I said there's quite a few bands on Sunday that I wanted to pick, but I was just like, well, I just love a riff. And yeah, that last Pallbearer album was amazing, I thought. And when I saw them at the Underworld on that tour, what was it, last year? Year before?
I think it was
last year.
Yeah.
And it was admittedly too loud in there, but it was a fucking great, like just the bass and the riffs, but it was like so heavy. And I think that tent is gonna, I think it's in the Sophie Lancaster stage, is just going to be shaking by how powerful this band are. And yeah, it's just gonna be another sort of display of heaviness, I think. I don't know what else to say about Pallbearer other than it's going to be really, really good.
I would also like to give another shout out to Demonic Resurrection, who are playing on the Sunday.
Yeah, awesome band.
Yeah, just, I mean, they're melodic metal bands, lots of, guitar breaks, but when you've got like an amazing frontman, it just pulls it out of just being generic into something else entirely, and just everything heavy metal's about. And Sahil is such a charming, funny, just engaging frontman, and it becomes something more than the sum of its parts. And I think it might actually be the last chance you get to see them, because I think they're going to sort of disband after this tour. Am I right in thinking? There's been talk about this might be the last ever tour. So see them while you can. And again, it's just the pure exuberant heavy metal spirit. Again,
they're from India.
Yeah.
So go support global metal.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Bloodstock's going to be a good time then.
Yeah, it's going to be wicked, I think. As long as the weather holds out, apparently it might rain. After all this time of months where there's nothing happening, suddenly Bloodstock rolls around and it might rain. But never mind.
Rain is metal, Luke.
Rain is metal.
Right, we've got some reader questions then.
Come on, let's go.
Jonathan, fire one out.
Well, is the Behemoth lineup going to be the gig of 2018? It says here. The answer is no, because it's 2019.
It
in
is.
February.
It goes to America first.
Yeah.
So if you're American, might be a gig of the year.
Is it the same lineup in the UK and the US? Because that's quite rare for that.
I don't know if it is the same lineup, but the UK one, which say we didn't mention, is Behemoth at the Gates and Wolves in the Throne Room. Like fucking hell.
That's the US one.
No,
is it
that's the UK one.
And the US one.
I don't know.
I think it is.
That's the UK one. We're very prepared for this question. Thank you, Gareth, for the question. But yeah, I think that is the UK lineup, and that's going to be hard to beat. I think for a straight up metal bill.
It's going to be great.
They're bands with kind of very different vibes. Also, it's worth saying that at the Gates they're playing at Bloodstock as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And they're like, remember when they first came back, and I saw them at I think it might have been Hole in the Sky. It must have been Hole in the Sky festival, and I wasn't expecting that to be my gig of the year, but that was my gig of the year that year.
Wow.
It was just. And again, another amazing Thomas Lindberg. What an amazing frontman with such an amazing voice. He just kills it over almost pretty much every other metal vocalist, and he's got all this kind of history in the crust scene as well too. It's just his voice like a flamethrower, which is what Mantle have that quality too. Their music kind of like just basically someone just going right, have this, and just like spraying everyone with a flamethrower, but with a really good beat. So yeah, they're all kind of very different vibes. But yeah, you've got these two ridiculously tight bands in the form of Behemoth and At the Gates, and then you've got this kind of epic sounding thing with Wars in the Throne Room. Epic and poignant inside. But they were great at, they played a few months ago.
Oh, cool.
I think the tour's coming here in February as well, which will be deep midwinter. So it's kind of matches the vibe really. Darkness, coldness. Desolate. Yeah, exactly. Good times. Well, Jay the Bard 89 asks, who are your favourite guitarists?
I guess Tony Iommi's the obvious one.
Yeah, I wrote him down.
Isn't it? So thank you again, Tony, for inventing metal. It's hard because as someone who doesn't play guitar, I just quite like guitarists who can't, who sound like themselves. It has to be them that's playing it. I think I mentioned it last week, maybe the week before, that I love Slash just for that exact reason. You listen to a Slash solo in whether it's Guns N' Roses or his solo stuff, whatever, you go, yeah, that has to be him. And I think, it's quite an obvious shout, but Tony Iommi and Slash are up there.
I was on the same lines as you, like thinking about what makes somebody sound really distinctive, so you hear it and you're just like, that is them. Obviously Tom Morello comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
He's exceptionally distinctive in his tone. Brent Hines, I love for personality. Like, he's just got such a cool personality, and you sort of never know really what you're going to get, but some of those Mastodon riffs are on point.
Well, obviously apart from Iommi, I think one guitarist, there's a before and an after, and that's Trey Azagthoth from Morbid Angel. Just basically, especially his lead guitar, his lead riffs or lead breaks, they just basically distort reality, and it's such a unique. So like, probably my favourite metal album of all time is Orders of Madness, and all the follow-up albums, they just you hear those woozy cosmic guitar breaks, and they just basically altered your reality, and they altered what you could do with metal, and it's just like something completely from another dimension. And I think he deserves a lot more of a shout out than he gets. But yeah, so just an amazing that he's mental as well too. So that probably helps. So, but he's tuned into something that's not of this world. There's other guitarists I like, almost like for their tone as much as the way they riff. And so I'm not going to choose between them. I'm going to say Abath/Demon As, because they just have some of the most beautiful guitar tones in the world that no one else had before them in Immortal. And just so, you just picture like frost and blizzards and things with the guitars, and it's such a beautiful tone that I can't get enough of it. And also, I'm going to also add a point somebody doesn't get enough recognition is Icedale from Enslaved. Mm-hmm. That like you hear him play with us in Enslaved or other bands. He did that thing with Abath and Demon As and a few other people. And the riffs are just, again, some of the breaks are just the most beautiful. They're just expansive, but proper proper sort of rock and roll metal riffs, and you can immediately tell it's him, and it's just like this great big sort of gush that's been let out, and it's so exuberant, and yeah, you can just always tell him there's such a freedom about the way he plays, and whenever he hits that thing riff, it's always like it comes as such a kind of release, and just celebratory as well too. So I think Icedale should get a lot more recognition than he does. But I just love hearing his guitar tone on anything.
I instantly forget who all my favourite bands, guitarists, drummers,
Yeah.
singers, etc. when anyone
Yeah.
asks. But just when you were talking then, Jerry Cantrell came to mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So amazing. Like, though Alice in Chains' riffs, Jerry's solo stuff, oh my gosh, is so good. Like, so distinctive, that kind of down low vibe, so good.
And I think, but also because the way with them, it's almost like the Beach Boys. The way the songs are arranged, they kind of break all the rules, so it becomes something else. I mean, I remember watching some breakdown of like how Alice in Chains write songs, and it's so counterintuitive. When you hear it, it's so like instinctive and honest.
It feels like all the parts just go together, like,
Yeah.
like they've always been there. Like, as soon as I listen to an Alice in Chains album, it only really takes like a few listens, and I feel like I've been born knowing those songs, like I've already known them forever. Like one of those bands, you know, it does happen with quite a lot of bands, you know, that you really kind of connect with. You feel like you were just born knowing them already, but particularly with him.
Yeah, but they had to invent a way of playing to articulate what they wanted to say emotionally.
Yeah.
Because no one else had done it quite that way before, and it was like, yeah, it was a very counterintuitive.
What an amazing band.
I'm also going to rep for Wes Borland while I
why
think
not?
about it.
Golden God winner.
Golden God winner. I think what was he won this year? Was it Shredder? It was Shredder.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was Shredder.
Literally won an award for being a guitarist.
a very good guitarist, because obviously he wrote some great riffs with Limp Bizkit and songs with Limp Bizkit, but everything he's done outside of that as well is like amazing. Like, he's a proper artist when it comes to being a guitar player, and he's just a really interesting bloke, and really obviously cares about music, not just selling records. He obviously cares, and he's very, very talented, and doesn't just do break stuff. He's much more than that. Although that is a very iconic opener for a guitar player.
I also want to throw in previous Shredder winner Lizzie Hale, because she's just really cool. She just takes inspiration from all those kind of older 80s bands and classic rock bands and produces something that's her own. So yeah, shout out to her as well.
Cool. Ruben Borger asks, are there any bands that have changed vocalists and everyone seems to be on board with everyone seems to be on board with, but you don't? Personally, I can't stand the new Iced Earth singer, but they drew quite a big crowd at Grasspop this year.
Right, so what bands have changed vocalists where we didn't like the new vocalist, even though other people did? I can't remember any bands who've changed vocalists. Help me out, guys.
The only one
Silosis. Anything that Jeremy Graham's been on. But it's a shame because he's such an amazing vocalist, Jeremy Graham, but he's been through kind of a lot of different kind of bands. It's a shame that Heart of a Coward didn't continue as it was, but that was a really good band. But he's such a good vocalist, but he seems to have gone from one band to another.
I'm really into Sky Harbour. They've got a new record coming soon, and Dan Tompkins was the singer of Sky Harbour, who obviously sings in Tesseract. And when they got their new vocalist Eric, I wasn't sure about him. I was a bit like, I just really kind of associated that band with Dan, but he's actually really good, and he has the kind of range of Dan but brings his own sort of edge to it, and their new record's amazing, so keep your eyes and ears open for that one. So that kind of won me round. I wasn't sure at first, but he's really good.
So the only one I can think of that interesting Spine is obviously Sepultura, because
Derek.
I think I like that Sepultura have continued. Like, I don't have a problem with the fact that everyone's going, it's not Sepultura without Max. Like, I don't listen to Sepultura now. Like, I don't really like anything they've done post Max. So I guess that's my answer to Ruben's question, but I don't begrudge them for continuing. I think Derek's a great vocalist, but it's just those records have not grabbed me anywhere near as much as Chaos AD did.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I'm glad they've carried on. It's cool they've carried on. I think they play well, they release good music, but they had quite a few concept albums like Alex and a few other ones, and it felt a bit like maybe they were a little bit lost for a while, like they're kind of doing some conceptual records to kind of hang things on, or there just wasn't that kind of rawness as it was when they first came out. But I also think that they are cool and are doing good things, but I don't know, I don't love it as much like you really. It's kind of, it's good, but it's not as, you're not like super hyped.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned ISO who like change vocalists so many times, but you kind of lose momentum when you do that. I think another case in point being Anthrax, because they change vocalists so often, and it just started to kind of feel like indecisive, like the band didn't really know what they were. Who was he? Oh, he was literally there for like a couple of months, but he was a really good frontman though. And it's just, so I feel like that lost them a little bit of momentum, and you don't, because John Bush, and he's such a different vocalist from, different vocalist, and so it was hard to kind of like really follow their path in a way, because like they just, you felt like you just kind of waiting for them to sort themselves out and decide. I mean, they have now with Joey, but I remember in that whole period when they couldn't decide on the vocalist, that was it was just like, well, I'm just do what you got to do, or come back when
It's weird when your brain fills stuff in as well, like when your brain is sort of almost trying to fill in a person who's not there. It's quite a weird sort of like disconnect.
Yeah.
I guess another big one is Nightwish as well. They've obviously been through 3 vocalists now. And I'm not the biggest Nightwish fan, but I really got into Once, the album with Tarja fronting it back in, what was that, like fucking 10 years ago or more. And that was wicked, but I've not really been that invested in anything since, although from all accounts Floor live is like the best thing that's ever happened to Nightwish, and so I'm very, very excited about seeing them at Bloodstock this weekend, just because I've never seen them, and I think I've probably not missed anything by all accounts by not seeing them before now. Like, apparently Floor's just an absolute beast and will be probably fronting Nightwish forever now.
I mean, I think Tarja is one of the best vocalists in our world.
Oh yeah, like her voice is great.
And like you hear her compared to any other operatic vocalist, and she's in like, they're like Isthmian League compared to like Premier League. She's just way, as far as operatic vocals.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stand Nightwish with her on the vocals, and I kind of like that sort of slightly squeaky poppy voice that Annette had. But I'm not a big Nightwish fan either. But I did see him with Annette, and it was all right. It was something different, and it was good that they decided to go with someone very different. And I think it worked with Annette Olsen actually. It was a brave decision to make on all counts. And I haven't seen him with Floor, but I will probably check him out at Bloodstock, but not the world's biggest fan. But I'll probably find myself really enjoying it in spite of myself.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle Finity asks, do you think there'll ever be another metal Glastonbury headliner?
No.
It's hard, isn't it?
No.
Because it has to be someone who's really high profile, so in our world it's like Metallica, Iron Maiden,
And that's it.
That's it, yeah. Black Sabbath.
Sabbath might do it, but they're pretty much, they obviously are done.
Yeah.
But if the offer's right,
I
maybe.
can't. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I can't see any either. Even like your Avenged Sevenfold are breaking out to be like the kind of cultural phenomenon that even if you're not into metal, means something to you.
Yeah, I think there's no band from who basically from the past 20 years who could do it.
It's weird though, because I almost want to say Nine Inch Nails, but it's that funny thing. But it's that funny thing though, again, where like, as doing the film soundtracks, Trent's got a massive profile now. But as Nine Inch Nails, it's still not got that mainstream visibility or that mainstream appeal. So they can play massive places, but Glastonbury's still a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to remember, like,
it would be amazing though. I would love to see it.
But if you're a headliner, you're playing to potentially 250,000 people.
You're Beyonce sized.
Yeah, exactly. You as much as I love Nine Inch Nails, Eleanor, Trent Reznor and Beyonce, I'm not on the same level.
That was literally the point that I just made, Luke.
No,
and it makes me sad.
No, that's what I mean. But I think, and even though he's done the film scores and everything, it's still just like a couple of levels below, and it's a shame that it's never going to happen. But I think Nine Inch Nails would be a perfect shout to be a Glastonbury booking, and they maybe even done it.
I think more relevant questions: which bands from our world would fit at Glastonbury? I'll tell you who I think would. Even if you've never heard it before, you get it. Gojira. I could see Gojira playing at Glastonbury Festival.
I don't know. It's so extreme to people who don't know metal, though.
But it's so... Just because it's got guitar, it's so expansive, though.
They do have that metal stage there, though, now.
Yeah.
They had that Earache had the Earache Express.
Yeah, the train.
They had Napalm Death played.
Yeah, because that was a particularly earache related thing.
No,
but I could see like people who never heard a metal band coming across Gojira and totally getting it.
I don't know. I still think there's a kind of a barrier there to how heavy they are. Like, I'm sort of thinking along the lines of bands like Nine Inch Nails, because they can do the electronic stuff and the heavy stuff, and it kind of dips into eras. I'm trying to think of which other bands have a broader appeal, basically.
Yeah, I just it's sad to think that heaviness is a barrier.
I think harsh vocals is also a barrier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is where Gojira, even though it's not properly screaming, it's not clean singing, and which is why I don't see a lot of the bands that we think are big and obviously can headline Download and things like that wouldn't get a good or even a big and at all booking for Glastonbury. Like Slipknot probably wouldn't get booked.
I'd love to see Slipknot.
Yeah, they might maybe, but I don't think they'd do it. Metallica I think was just an anomaly. Like Motorhead, played, but they weren't not a headliner.
What about bands that kind of broke out of the metal mold, like say Ulver or Solstafir?
Oh yeah,
obviously
not headlining because that would
not headlining. I'm just
thinking,
Solstafir is a great shout. Merker as well, I think.
Awesome.
Vardruna. I'm surprised.
Absolutely,
I'm actually surprised that Vardruna haven't played.
Because again, there's lots of world music at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hookshaw thing could get...
Yeah, Heilung.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Heilung? That would be amazing.
That would be fucking amazing.
We need...
The hippies would love it.
Yeah.
We need a special Jonathan Seltzer curated stage. That's what we need. Because all these suggestions are sounding like a good day out to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like Roadburns.
Yeah, but here's a band who've never played the UK before. They've had a little bit of press that we gave them, actually. And they've really sold out the Islington Assembly Hall, within a couple of weeks. It's going to be amazing, and this band will be huge. And I hope, they grow beyond the metal scene. I always wondered, where Vardruna's limits are as far as that's concerned, because it totally makes sense. Should make sense. They played WOMAD or something.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised Vardruna haven't played Glastonbury as yet.
Well, who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
We'll have to see what happens, won't we? Exciting times for 2019. Right then, I'm off to Iron Maiden.
right now.
In a couple of days' time. That is my weekend sorted.
Anyone going to see Power Trip? Is it tonight?
Power Trip's on tonight, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not going, but they're playing Saturday at Bloodstock, so that's going to be another lovely time, I think. If you're going to Bloodstock, watch Power Trip, because they're the best thrash band of the past 10 years. Fight me.
Necromantian, I will fight you and I'll raise you, Necromantian.
It's all going down here.
Pure creator influenced.
I'm going to referee.
Yeah. Reverb vocals, just mental. Yeah, just feels like a tank running around a wasteland.
Amazing.
Over the bones of the dead.
Oh, what?
And then reversing back and then just having real good fun about it. It's basically joyriding over the dead on an apocalyptic wasteland.
I was definitely going to go with Power Trip until he said that, so now I'm not sure.
Now you got tanked.
Yeah.
Well, but Jonathan and I are going to Bloodstock anyway. Yeah. We'll hopefully see some of you there in the pit, man, or hanging by the Jaeger tent. That's where we tend to be.
And if anyone isn't too hungover after Bloodstock, on Monday at the Islington Academy in London, Diamond Fetus are in town.
Why not?
Diamond Fetus? It probably will get old. It probably is old. We just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
We're playing with Carnifex, Toxic Holocaust, one of the other best thrash bands on the planet, like Black and Thrash with a load of crustcore and discore in it.
Nice.
And Goatpaw as well too. So
love it.
I'm sure a lovely time will be had by all. And and in Bristol on Monday as well, it's Soulfly.
Oh, nice.
Bringing the tribe to the West Country.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right then, guys. That sounds good. See you next week.
See you then. Well, maybe not me.
No, I think Merlin will be back next week, potentially. I think definitely. I don't know. Who knows what he's doing?
Who knows what's going to happen?
Come
back next week.
I am the podcast super sub.
The Soul Shah of Metal Hammer.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.